Mm. Welcome to chapter 10 of The Phoenix Within. So, this is our story where you can become the hero or the heroine by simply using your imagination to be a part of the tale. So, in the 9 chapters so far, and they are all available on my blog with all of the links and across both the Facebook events and LinkedIn events as well. Um, we've been following Morgan, our protagonist, who you can create to be whoever you want them to be. And if you haven't had a chance to join us so far because of my various streaming issues, I can tell this story, or I do tell this story in the first person with minimal description so that everyone listening or reading on the blogs can fill in the details and make the story more relevant for you. So I believe that life should be so much more than just the usual born, school, good grades, get a job, get married, have a family, work until you retire with some weekends and maybe 4 weeks off a year, if you're lucky. Retire and hopefully have enough to pay for your funeral and some nice bits for the grandkids. And this story is designed to show you an alternative way of thinking that I have come across in the last couple of years. So Morgan was going through a bit of a rut at the start of our story. Life just felt difficult. But then Morgan learned a few new things from a webinar, some books from the library, and a seminar. Morgan got a second job and is shifting their view of the world. Life is up and down, but Morgan feels much more positive about everything. Even when they lost their job, their partner walked out, and they received an eviction notice. In chapter 9, Morgan got the opportunity to attend another seminar and took it. Yes, the money should have been used on rent or a deposit, but they made the decision to do something for them instead. But will it work out? Let's see what happens next. So, chapter 10, I've called Responding versus Reacting. What a great night's sleep. I am woken by my alarm, get up, sort my morning routine before heading out the door for my cleaning shift. I set my alarm for as late as possible, as I knew I was having a later night, but still wanted to be bright eyed and bushy tailed for the day ahead. The weather is still holding. It's a bright, sunny day, and the walk to the university is refreshing. Today is going to be a good day. I can feel it. I have 2 calls with my mentor and people about my new side hustle, and I'm speaking to the coffee shop owner at the end of this evening's shift about it as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's done by my mentor so I can get up and running myself. I will also be messaging the people I met yesterday to book them in as well. During my cleaning shift, the manager spends some time having a chat with me while I'm working in the corridor. They are also interested in my side hustle, so we book in a time to chat next week. But they also want to know if I'm free to help at some more later evening events coming up soon. I say yes, and they give me the list of dates and requirements to check against my other commitments and ask for a response by Monday. Shift goes smoothly, not a whole lot to clean up in most of the rooms, and at the end, I enjoy my lunch out in the park with my laptop, notepad, and phone ready for my calls. Both go smoothly, and I marvel at the ease of the presentation and how my mentor guides them through the call, getting lots of agreement and answering their questions. I make a lot of notes. One signs up there and then, the other needs to check some details with their partner, and we book a follow-up call. It's another 250 quid coming my way and earned while sitting on a bench in the sun, listening to someone else do all the talking. I'm excited by the prospect of doing these calls myself soon in every nook and cranny of my day. Both calls are done within an hour, and then I head over to the coffee shop to help with the late lunch rush, and then spend the quieter afternoon hours reading and chatting to the few customers who come in. I'm quite humbled to see that my honey oat latte has made it onto the main board to be sold as a normal drink. The owner comes in around 5 to help with the after work rush, and when things start to calm down, we have an opportunity to catch up. I actually surprised myself with how much has happened in the last few days. I tell them about last night's seminar and today's calls, and then they drop something on me that I was not expecting. They ask if I want to become a franchise owner of this shop. I stumble a little, take a couple of breaths, and then say honestly that I'm not sure what that means. They smile and say that I would be basically buying this business from them, running it myself, but with the security of the rest of the brand and them to help me. Percentage of the profit would go to them, of course, and there is an upfront cost that can be spread across the profits for a little while, but I would effectively be the owner of this shop. I'm taken aback, to be honest. I take a few sips of my drink to buy me some thinking time, but I can tell from their face that they're happy to wait for my response. My mind goes straight to the money. I guess that's human nature. It is annoying though. Such a great opportunity, and my mind goes straight to how much it will cost up front. Why can't it go straight to how much I could earn and the extra time I could spend here? Regardless, it hasn't done that. So I guess I have to ask. I start with a thank you, obviously, and then ask what the investment would be. They give me the number. It's actually fairly reasonable and not as scary as I imagined, but it is still more than I currently earn in about 6 months. I don't share that thought, but I do say that I need to work out my living arrangements first. A smile, a sip of their drink, and then another bombshell statement. The offer comes with the opportunity to rent the little apartment upstairs. I didn't even know there was an apartment. They continue by adding that this comes with a basic security role that allows the rent to be lower than expected for the size of the apartment, and that the furniture is to remain in place to keep with the aesthetics of the brand. This is also because the apartment is sometimes used as an extension to the cafe or hosting in-person events. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I am eager to see the space if it can be used for that. I take everything in and say that it is definitely something I'm interested in. My first thoughts are all the opportunities involved, and I keep pushing down the doubts and the worries that are trying to come up. I tell them that I need to sort my money situation to ensure I can pay what is required and on time, and they have been so giving towards me, I would not want to let them down or cause them problems. Another smile. I knew you'd be interested. I've been looking for someone exactly like you for a while now to be able to expand my business into the next town and test the franchise approach to free up my time to go traveling and do the things I've not been able to do of late. I reply, that will be so awesome. I look forward to the days when I'm in the same situation, and I'm hopeful that this opportunity will provide what we both want. They agree. And then, as it is now closing time, they ask to see the opportunity presentation. I have been involved in a few calls and conversations now. So I send a message to my mentor to see if they are free or okay for me to go ahead solo while the owner locks the door and sets the machines on their self-cleaning cycles. My mentor responds and tells me to go for it. So I set up my laptop and help with some jobs before we go through the presentation. I'm keen to go and explore the apartment, but there will be a chance shortly, I'm sure. The owner is very interested in the presentation and even quips that I could host a group presentation upstairs to show more than one person at once. What a great idea! They then say that they need to check with their partner about one of the things on the presentation and ask me to investigate the possibility of doing this for the coffee shops as well. I make a note and then they invite me upstairs to view the apartment while the machines finish their cycle. Wow. The shop downstairs isn't massive, about 5 meters wide, maybe 12 meters long, but the apartment stretches across two of the shop units. It's mostly open plan, 2 bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen space. The furniture is in line with the aesthetics of the downstairs shop, and there's a curtained off area on one side that houses fold out tables and chairs for events. It is simply gorgeous, and I can already see myself living there. And now I just have to work out how. The owner mentions to me that I may be able to get a business startup loan, so I make a mental plan to get to the library again on Saturday. We finish up the evening jobs and then lock up and head our separate ways. Once home, I notice a message on my phone. It's from my ex-partner. For some reason, I get a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. What do they want? I open the message and read it a couple of times. Oh, joy. They've realized they made a mistake walking out and want to meet to discuss what happened. That was over 2 months ago. Why get back in touch now? To be fair, we had always been quite on and off, breaking up every time we had a falling out instead of actually discussing our differences. I'm quite enjoying my single life, doing my own thing, exploring new ideas. I'm not sure I want to be involved in a relationship right now, and especially not with someone who does not think in the same way as I do. I decide to reply to keep the peace, asking how they're doing and saying that things are pretty busy at the moment. An almost instant reply. Apparently, They know I lost my job. Not sure how. I reply saying I'm doing a couple of other things now, yes. They ask if they can come over. I say I'm working early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow evening, then. Again, I say I have plans on Saturday. Back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, we decide to meet on Saturday evening for dinner. I'm still not sure I want to. Maybe something will come up in the next couple of days and I can cancel. I hope something comes up. Friday comes and goes. Simple cleaning shift, few appointments for my side hustle, and a nice afternoon walk in the park. I also send some messages to the people I met at the seminar and catch up on their group chat. They have another webinar coming up soon, and I volunteered to be the introducer and then the question fielder, which frees up that usual person to take part in another section and set them up as a consultant rather than an admin. Everyone seems very happy with it, and I'm ecstatic at the opportunity. We organise a time on Monday evening to do some technology tests to make sure my webcam and mic are up to the job. And I also share the offer from the coffee shop owner to see if they have any ideas of how I could raise the funds I need. They give a lot of ideas. Thankfully, they're already written down, as there'd be no hope of me remembering them all. A few definitely have potential, a few others not so much, and my mind instantly disregards them as out of my remit, asking friends and family being one. But the list definitely makes me excited. I spend the rest of the afternoon and evening on my laptop doing some research and making notes on ideas to follow up on. Saturday, I take the walk down to the library. I'm on first known terms with the librarians now, and based on the books I've been borrowing and the questions I've asked so far, they seem unfazed by my requests about funding for a business idea. I share my list from yesterday with them, and they pick out a few that they can help with, pointing me in the direction of the right forms to fill in and also which financial institutions to approach. I arrived quite early this morning, so decided to visit a few with physical locations in town to speak to people there. I managed to sort out some appointments to speak with people today, and both meetings go well. They tell me the sort of information they need and what money I need to provide up front, and send me away with more forms to fill in. I tuck these away in my bag and check my messages. One from my ex. Damn, they haven't forgotten and are looking forward to seeing me in an hour. We chose a place in town at least, so there's no risk of them asking to go back to mine, and I decide to back to the library to start on my forms. Just before 5, I head over to the meeting place. They are there ahead of me, which makes a change, and we greet each other before heading in. We're shown to a table, look at the menus, order our drinks and food, and then I wait to hear what they have to say. Nothing they haven't said before. Every other time we've split up. Still no acknowledgement of what caused our breakup in the first place. I push the point that we both have differing views on money and that I have a lot going on at the moment. They offer to help with everything, completely ignoring the money topic. So I say thank you for the offer, but no thank you. Food arrives and we tuck in. Excuse me. There is silence for a while, and then they start asking if I have met someone else. I glance up, say no, and just say that I'm working 2 jobs now to make ends meet. They don't need to know about my eviction, side hustle, the coffee shop offer, or what my 2 jobs are. I'm getting weird vibes from them and I'm feeling quite uncomfortable. Then they just come out with it. They really miss me, miss what we had, really do love me, and need a place to stay for a while as they've been kicked out of their place. Yeah, I can feel the old familiar pull of wanting to go back to them and try it all again. It sounds like they have changed. No, stop. No, thank you. I apologize at first and then say that it just wasn't working for me before. And I don't think it's going to work for me now. I think they are just as shocked as me at what is coming out of my mouth. I'm actually speaking my mind, not being nasty, but being to the point and blunt, no wishy-washy, which is not usually me. I usually bounce around a subject, not making myself clear, generally causing more confusion, but this time I'm straight to the point. It takes them aback, and a few moments pass in silence. They then tell me that I've changed and must be in a new relationship, but just don't want to tell them. I say again that I'm not, and just not interested in getting back together with them. They act like I've said something offensive and simply ask if they can stay at mine for a bit. Again, I say no. They start demanding to know why. I motion to the waiting staff to bring the bill, and they continue demanding to know why I'm leaving. Look, I say, I do not need to explain myself to you. We are done. We are not getting back together. This is the first time I've heard from you in over 2 months, and it's simply because you need somewhere to stay. I'm sorry for your predicament, but I can't help you. Again, the words coming out of me surprise me and are shocking to them as well. This gives me time to pay half of the bill and leave, leaving my ex sat in disbelief, but I can feel their anger rising. I walk quickly towards the bus stop a few streets over, hoping they don't follow me, but not checking to see if they are. A quick check over my shoulder as I cross the street, and they are. I decide to pop into the coffee shop on the corner, one of the owner's ones, and go straight to the counter as soon as I see the owner. I start up a happy conversation and ignore my ex as they enter behind me. They try to speak to me, and I continue talking at the coffee shop owner. The shop owner leans past me and tells my ex that the shop is now closed, and then turns back to me to say thank you for helping with the tidying up this evening. Thankfully, they don't push it and leave. I thank the owner, start to explain a little, but they stop me and say they don't need to know. I thank them again, leaving it at it's complicated, and offer to help tidy. They agree and then offer me a lift home once everything is done. For the rest of that evening, I decide to take another look at what I wrote for my new self-image statement. Much of what I've done today is in line with what I wrote down, and while I'm still feeling a little jittery, I am proud of myself for standing up for me. I read through the statement again and then turn to a clean page in my notepad and start writing out affirmations. It was something mentioned at the seminar on Wednesday, to write out I am statements that are in line with the person I want to become, the person I am becoming. Such things as I am brave, courageous, honest, punctual, enthusiastic, abundant, persistent, consistent, integral, kind, thoughtful, respectful. The list becomes quite long, quite quickly. It makes me realize again that a lot of the things I'm aspiring to, I am already starting to do. I make myself a hot drink after having a shower, all the affirmations still flowing around my mind, thankfully blocking out the conversation and everything that happened this evening. And then I decide to settle down to read some more of psycho-cybernetics until bedtime. The chapter I'm on is about dehypnotizing yourself from false beliefs, and part of it says, in one sense of the word, every person on the face of the earth is inferior to other person or persons. Feelings of inferiority originate not so much from facts or experiences, but our conclusions regarding facts and our evaluation of experiences. For example, the fact is that I'm an inferior weightlifter, an inferior dancer. This does not, however, make me an inferior person. It's not knowledge of actual inferiority in skill or knowledge that gives us an inferiority complex and interferes with our living. It is the feeling of inferiority that does this. And this feeling of inferiority comes about for just one reason. We judge ourselves and measure ourselves, not against our own norm or par, but against some other individual's norm. When we do this, we always, without exception, come out second best. But because we think and believe and assume that we should measure up to some other person's norm, we feel miserable and second rate and conclude that there is something wrong with us. The next logical conclusion in this cockeyed reasoning process is to conclude that we are not worthy, that we do not deserve success and happiness, and that it would be out of place for us to fully express our own abilities and talents, whatever they might be, without apology or without feeling guilty about it. Maybe that's why my ex said I'd changed so much this evening, because I'm not doing the things that I've always done. I'm becoming a new person. The book goes on to say, all this comes about because we've allowed ourselves to be hypnotized by the entirely erroneous idea that I should be like so-and-so, or I should be like everybody else. The fallacy of the second idea can be readily seen, though, if analyzed, for in truth, there are no fixed standards common to everybody else. Everybody else is composed of individuals, no two of whom are alike. The person with an inferiority complex invariably compounds the error by striving for superiority. Their feelings arise from this, or their feelings spring from the false premise that they are inferior. From this false premise, a whole structure of logical thought and feeling is built. If he feels bad because he is inferior, the cure is to make himself as good as everybody else. And the way to feel really good is to make himself superior. This striving for superiority gets him into more trouble, causes more frustration, and sometimes brings about a neurosis where none existed before. He becomes more miserable than ever, and the harder he tries, the more miserable he becomes. Inferiority and superiority are reverse sides of the same coin. The cure lies in realizing that the coin itself is spurious. The truth about you is this: you are not inferior, you are not superior, you are simply you. You as a personality are not in competition with any other personality simply because there is not another person on the face of the earth like you or in your particular class. You are an individual. You are unique. You are not like any other person and can never become like any other person. You are not supposed to be like any other person, and no other person is supposed to be like you. I think I like that. I think I like that a lot. I spent so many years trying to be somebody else, the somebody that everyone expected me to be, the somebody my ex expected me to date. But when I didn't show up as them, because I am learning who I am, they got angry. But I guess that's not my fault. I'm just simply being me, the me I want to be, the me who has always been hidden deep inside, who is now coming out and who is creating all of these changes. The me that they know isn't me, it was a mask. And I feel so grateful that I found these books, that I found these informations, that I've got back in contact with my friends, that I've been in the same room as that speaker, hearing them speak twice now. It's opening my mind to so many more possibilities that I could have never imagined. And it feels amazing. It feels so freeing. And opportunities are opening up left, right, and center. I simply cannot wait to see where this money will come from to sort out this opportunity with the coffee shop. Because everything I've read, Think and Grow Rich, Some of You Were Born Rich, Psycho Cybernetics, You Are a Badass, they all say the same thing. We become what we think about. And the more you think, the more you feel, the different actions that come out of you, the new habits that you create, all recreate your reality in your new image. This is amazing. And so much has happened in 2 months. I am so grateful. I wonder what tomorrow will bring. And that's chapter 10. Little free will at the end, but it just felt right. And that's the whole point of this story. I'm just going with what feels right for Morgan. And I'm hoping that you guys can relate to it. So thank you very much for your time, whether you're watching this live or on the replay or on any of the recordings, be it podcast or whichever. And I look forward to seeing you again on Tuesday. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Oh, and there are only 3 sessions left. Next Tuesday, next Thursday, and the following Tuesday, which I cannot believe is actually Christmas Eve. Time flies when you're having fun. So thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great rest of your weekend.